Pine Hollow, Montana Territory, December 1892. Anna Hayes stood at the ferry crossing with a crumpled legal notice in her gloved hand, watching the trail boss dismount from a dust-covered horse. And she knew the next 5 minutes would decide whether she kept her land or lost everything to a technicality older than the ink on her deed. The notice said she needed a husband by the 15th, or the county would declare her homestead abandoned under the married settler provision. And today was the 13th. The ferry rocked gently against its mooring as Will Blackwood tied his reins to the post, his dark brown hair falling across his forehead, his weathered duster coat marked with trail dust from weeks on the northern route. He was 32, lean and tall, with gray eyes that carried the weight of something he would not speak about. Anna was 30, blonde hair twisted into a practical bun, her Swedish accent still thick enough to turn her words deliberate and careful. She wore a dark wool coat over a simple calico dress, boots caked with frost from the morning walk into town. Anna had heard about Will Blackwood from the mercantile owner, who said the trail boss was decent and quiet and owed nobody anything. She had no other options. The banker would not loan to a single woman. The preacher had suggested she pray harder. The county clerk had shrugged and pointed at the deadline. Will looked up from his saddle strap and met her eyes, and she saw caution there, the kind that came from being burned before.
"I need a husband for 2 days," she said, her voice steady despite the cold knot in her stomach. "Not a real one, just on paper. The judge comes through on the 15th to sign claims. After that, you can leave and I will file for abandonment. You keep $50 and we never see each other again."
Will straightened slowly, his hands still resting on the saddle.
"Why me?"
he asked.
"Because you are not from here and you do not have ties," Anna said. "Because the mercantile owner says you are honest and you do not drink or gamble. Because I have run out of time."
Will studied her face for a long moment, then glanced at the legal notice she held.
"What happens if you lose the land?"
"I go back to Sweden with nothing," Anna said. "My brother sent me the deed 2 years ago when he died. I have worked it alone since then. I will not lose it to a law written by men who think a woman cannot hold property without a husband."
Will exhaled slowly, his breath visible in the cold air.
$50 in 2 days, he said. "Then I am gone."
"Yes."
"When do we sign?"
"Tomorrow morning," Anna said. "The clerk opens at 8. We go to his office, we sign, and then we wait for the judge."
Will nodded once, then turned back to his horse.
"I will meet you at the clerk's office at 8, he said. "Do not be late."
Anna folded the notice and slipped it into her coat pocket, relief flooding through her chest even as doubt whispered at the edges. She did not know this man. She did not know why his eyes carried that particular haunted look. But she had no choice, and choice was a luxury she could not afford. The next morning, Anna arrived at the county clerk's office 10 minutes early, her hands cold despite her gloves, her heart beating too fast. Will was already there, leaning against the hitching post outside, his duster coat buttoned against the wind. He had shaved, and his hair was combed back, and he looked almost respectable except for the faint scar along his jaw that she had not noticed the day before. They went inside together, and the clerk, a thin man with ink-stained fingers, pulled out the forms without comment. He had seen stranger arrangements. Anna signed her name in careful script. Then Will signed his, and the clerk stamped the paper with a heavy thud that sounded final.
"Congratulations. the clerk said without enthusiasm. Judge comes through day after tomorrow. Be at the courthouse by noon if you want your claim certified.
They walked out into the cold December air, and Anna felt the weight of the signed paper in her coat pocket, like a stone.
"Thank you," she said quietly.
Do not thank me yet, Will said. We still have to get through the judge.
Anna was about to reply when a man on horseback rode past and stopped abruptly, staring at Will with wide eyes. The man was young, maybe 25, with a deputy's badge pinned to his coat. He dismounted quickly and walked toward them, his hand resting on the revolver at his hip. Deputy Marsh. Anna recognized him. He had been hired 3 months ago when the town marshal took sick. Marsh pulled a folded paper from his coat and unfolded it slowly, his eyes flicking between the paper and Will's face. The deputy's voice was tight. "You are Will Blackwood?"
Yes.
Marsh held up the paper so they could both see it. It was a wanted poster, the ink still fresh, the face drawn in rough lines but unmistakable. Will Blackwood. Wanted for robbery and assault in Wyoming territory. $500 reward.
That is not me, Will said, his voice low and controlled.
Marsh's hand tightened on his revolver. "Looks like you to me."
"When was this robbery?" Anna asked, her mind racing.
Marsh glanced at the date on the poster. 3 weeks ago. Cheyenne.
"He was on the Northern Trail 3 weeks ago," Anna said. "I can get witnesses."
Marsh shook his head. "You just married him this morning. You do not know where he was 3 weeks ago."
I can prove it, Will said. The trail company keeps logs. Every stop is recorded. I was in Miles City 3 weeks ago, not Cheyenne.
Marsh hesitated, then folded the poster and tucked it back into his coat. "You come to the marshal's office this afternoon, and we will sort it out. If you run, I will assume you are guilty."
I will be there.
Marsh mounted his horse and rode off, and Anna turned to Will with her heart pounding.
"You did not do this."
No, Will said, but somebody wants people to think I did.
"Who?"
I do not know.
But his voice carried a weight that told Anna he suspected more than he was saying. That afternoon, they went to the marshal's office together. The marshal, an older man named Taggart, with a gray beard and a permanent limp, listened to Will's account and sent a telegraph to the trail company in Miles City. The reply came back 2 hours later confirming Will's location 3 weeks prior, and Taggart folded the wanted poster with a grunt. Taggart's voice was rough. "Somebody made a mistake, or somebody is lying. Either way, you are clear for now. But if more trouble follows you, I will have questions."
Understood, Will said.
They left the office, and Anna felt the tension in her shoulders ease slightly, but only slightly. Outside, the sun was low, and the air was colder.
"Why would someone make a false poster with your name?" Anna asked.
To cover their own tracks, Will said. If people think I am the one robbing stages, they stop looking for the real man.
"Do you know who it is?"
I have an idea, Will said. But I need proof.
Anna studied his face, the tight line of his jaw, the way his eyes scanned the street like he expected trouble.
"You are not leaving in 2 days, are you?"
No, Will said quietly. Not until this is finished.
Anna nodded slowly. She had wanted a temporary arrangement, a quick solution to her legal problem. Now she was tied to a man with a false wanted poster and an enemy she could not see. That night, Anna returned to her homestead, A small cabin 2 miles outside Pine Hollow, with a barn and a corral and a winter garden she had worked through the frost. The land was hers, legally now, but the relief she had expected did not come. Instead, she lay awake in the dark, listening to the wind rattle the shutters, thinking about Will Blackwood and the wanted poster, and the careful way he had looked at her when he said he would stay. She did not know him. She did not owe him anything beyond the $50 she had promised, but something in his voice had been steady and honest, and Anna had learned to trust her instincts about people. She had survived 2 years alone on this land by knowing when to trust and when to walk away. She was not walking away yet. The next morning, Will rode out to her homestead just after dawn. Anna was feeding the chickens when she heard the horse, and she straightened, wiping her hands on her apron. Will dismounted and tied his reins to the corral fence.
"We need to talk," he said.
"Come inside," Anna said.
They sat at her small kitchen table, and Will pulled a folded paper from his coat. It was a telegram, the ink smudged from handling.
"I sent word to a friend in Cheyenne," Will said. "He works for the rail company. He says there is talk about a train heist planned for next week. The Northern Pacific line, the one that runs through Pine Hollow."
"What does that have to do with the wanted poster?"
"The gang planning the heist needs cover," Will said. "If the law is chasing me, they are not watching the train. And if I am blamed for the robbery after it happens, they walk away clean."
"Who is behind it?"
"I do not have a name yet," Will said. "But my friend says the gang has local help. Someone in Pine Hollow is feeding them information."
Anna felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold air seeping through the cabin walls.
"The train runs through here twice a week. If they rob it here, the town loses the water rights contract."
"What contract?"
"The town signed a deal with the rail company 6 months ago," Anna said. "The company agreed to build a water station here if the town keeps the line secure. Without that station, Pine Hollow dries up. The nearest water source is 15 miles south. People will leave. The town dies."
"Then we stop the heist," Will said.
"We?"
"You need the town to survive so your land has value. I need to clear my name. We help each other."
Anna studied his face, the determined set of his jaw, the quiet confidence in his voice.
"What do we do?"
"We find out who is helping the gang," Will said, "and we stop them before the train arrives."
They spent the rest of the day riding into town and asking quiet questions. Anna knew the townsfolk better than Will did, and she had a way of asking that did not raise suspicion. They learned that the train was scheduled to arrive on the 18th, carrying payroll for the mining camps north of Pine Hollow. They learned that the gang had been seen near the ferry crossing 2 nights ago, 3 men on horseback, watching the rail line. And they learned that Caldwell Crawley, a farmer who lived east of town, had been spending money he should not have, buying rounds at the saloon and talking about leaving Montana before winter set in hard. Anna knew Crawley. He had a farm that barely produced, a smile that never reached his eyes, and a reputation for settling disputes with fire. 2 years ago, a neighbor's barn had burned after an argument over fence lines. No proof, but everyone knew.
"Crowley," Anna said quietly as they stood outside the mercantile. "He is the local help.
"You sure?"
He has been desperate for money since his crops failed last spring," Anna said. "And he is vain. If someone offered him a chance to be important, to be part of something bigger, he would take it."
"We need proof."
"Then we watch him."
That night, They took positions in the trees east of Crawley's farm, their horses tied a quarter-mile back, the cold biting through their coats. Anna had insisted on coming despite Will's objections, and now they crouched behind a fallen log, watching the farmhouse. Crowley's lights were on, and through the window they could see him moving back and forth, pacing. An hour passed, then 2. Anna's fingers were numb inside her gloves, and she was about to suggest they leave when 3 riders approached from the south, their horses moving slow and quiet. The riders dismounted and knocked on Crowley's door. He let them in without hesitation.
"That is them," Will whispered.
We need to hear what they are saying.
2. Dangerous.
We need proof, Anna insisted.
Will hesitated, then nodded. They crept closer, moving through the shadows until they were crouched beneath the farmhouse window. Inside, Crowley's voice was smooth and confident. Crowley was speaking. "The train arrives at 2 in the afternoon on the 18th. The water station is half a mile east of the ferry. You hit it there. The town will send the marshal and the deputy to investigate, and that leaves the station unguarded. You take the payroll, burn the station, and ride south. I get my cut, and I am gone before the judge's circuit ends." One of the other men, his voice rough and low, replied, "What about the trail boss? The one with the wanted poster?" Crowley laughed, a soft sound that made Anna's skin crawl. "That was my idea. I paid a printer in Cheyenne to make the poster. As long as people think Blackwood is the threat, they are not looking at us. After the heist, we make sure he takes the blame. Dead men do not argue." Anna's breath caught. Beside her, Will's jaw tightened, his hand moving to the revolver at his hip.
"We have enough," he whispered. "Let us go."
But as they turned to leave, a board creaked under Anna's boot. The sound was soft, but sharp in the cold night air. Inside, the conversation stopped. Crowley's voice cut through the silence. "Someone is outside." The door flew open, and the 3 riders spilled out, guns drawn. Will grabbed Anna's arm and pulled her into a run, their boots crunching through the frost-covered grass. Behind them, gunfire cracked through the night, bullets whipping past their heads. They reached the trees and kept running, branches tearing at their coats, their breath coming in ragged gasps. They found their horses and mounted quickly, spurring them into a gallop. The riders followed, their shouts echoing through the dark. Anna leaned low over her horse's neck, her heart pounding so hard she thought it might burst. Beside her, Will rode with grim determination, his eyes fixed on the trail ahead. They did not stop until they reached Anna's homestead. They dismounted and led the horses into the barn, their hands shaking from cold and adrenaline. Anna bolted the barn door and leaned against it, her chest heaving.
They know we heard them, she said. They will come after us.
"Yes," Will said. "We need to get to the marshal."
Crowley will deny everything, Anna said. It is our word against his. And he has 3 men with guns.
"Then we need more than our word," Will said. "We need evidence."
What evidence? We heard them talking. That is all.
"The printer in Cheyenne," Will said. "If Crowley paid someone to make the wanted poster, there will be a record, a receipt, a letter, something."
Cheyenne is 2 days' ride.
"Then we ride fast," Will said.
The train arrives in 4 days, Anna said. If we leave now, we might not make it back in time.
We do not have a choice.
Anna closed her eyes, her mind racing. 4 days. The train. The heist. Crowley and his gang. And somewhere in the middle of it all, the judge arriving to certify her claim. If she left now, she might miss the judge. If she stayed, Crowley would come after them, and the town would lose the water station.
We split up, Anna said. You ride to Cheyenne and get the proof. I stay here and warn the marshal.
No, Will said immediately. If Crowley knows you heard him, he will kill you.
He will not risk it before the heist, Anna said. He needs the town calm. If he kills me now, people will ask questions. But after the heist, when he is gone, it will not matter.
I am not leaving you here alone.
You have to, Anna said. You are the only one who can get the proof. I am the only one Crowley will not see as a threat. He thinks I am just a Swedish farmer who needed a husband.
Will stared at her, his jaw tight, his eyes filled with something Anna could not quite name.
If anything happens to you, he said quietly, I will never forgive myself.
Nothing will happen, Anna said, more confidently than she felt. Just ride fast and come back.
Will nodded slowly, then reached out and took her hand. His grip was warm and steady, and Anna felt something shift in her chest. Something that had nothing to do with fear or desperation.
4 days, Will said. I will be back.
He left before dawn, riding south toward Cheyenne, and Anna watched him go from the barn door until he disappeared into the gray morning light. The next 2 days passed in tense silence. Anna went into town and found Marshal Taggart at his office. She told him what she and Will had overheard at Crowley's farm, and Taggart listened with a frown that deepened with every word. Taggart's voice was cautious. That is a serious accusation. You have proof?
Not yet, Anna said. But Will is getting it. He will be back before the train arrives.
Taggart leaned back in his chair, his fingers drumming on the desk. I will keep an eye on Crowley, but I cannot arrest him without evidence. And if you are wrong, he will have grounds to sue you for slander.
I am not wrong, Anna said.
Taggart nodded slowly. I hope you are right. Because if that train gets robbed, this town is finished. Anna left the office feeling the weight of the town's future pressing down on her shoulders. She spent the next day at her homestead, working through her chores with mechanical precision, her mind always drifting back to Will and Cheyenne and the ticking clock. On the third day, she rode into town to check for telegrams. There were none. She asked at the general store if anyone had seen Crowley. The owner said Crowley had been in that morning, buying supplies, smiling and calm. Too calm. Anna rode back to her homestead with a knot of dread tightening in her stomach. That night she woke to the smell of smoke. She sat up in bed, her heart racing, and stumbled to the window. Orange light flickered in the darkness. Her barn was on fire. Anna grabbed her coat and boots and ran outside, the cold air hitting her like a slap. Flames roared from the barn's roof, the heat so intense she could not get close. Her horses screamed inside, trapped. She ran to the barn door and tried to lift the bolt, but the wood was already too hot to touch. She wrapped her coat around her hands and tried again, her lungs burning from the smoke. The bolt gave way, and she threw the door open. The horses bolted past her, their eyes wild with terror, and Anna stumbled back, coughing. The barn collapsed inward with a roar, sending sparks swirling into the night sky. Anna stood in the yard, her coat singed, her hands blistered, watching everything she had worked for burn. And through the smoke and the heat, she saw a figure on horseback watching from the tree line. Caldwell Crowley. He did not move, did not speak. He just sat there, his face lit by the firelight, smiling. Then he turned his horse and rode away. Anna collapsed to her knees in the dirt, her chest heaving with sobs she could not control. The barn was gone. Her tools were gone. Half her winter supplies were gone. And Crowley had done it to send a message, to remind her that he could destroy her any time he wanted. She stayed there until the fire burned down to embers, until the cold soaked through her coat and her tears froze on her cheeks. Then she stood, her legs shaking, and walked back to the cabin. She did not sleep. She sat at her kitchen table with a rifle across her lap, watching the door, waiting for Crowley to come back and finish what he started. He did not come, but she knew he would. Eventually, Will returned the next morning, his horse lathered with sweat, his face drawn with exhaustion. He dismounted in Anna's yard and stopped when he saw the burned remains of the barn.
"Anna," he called, his voice tight with fear.
Anna stepped out of the cabin, the rifle still in her hands, and Will crossed the yard in 3 long strides.
"What happened?"
Crowley, Anna said, her voice flat and empty. "Last night, he burned the barn."
"Are you hurt?"
"No."
"Did he say anything?"
"He did not have to," Anna said. "He was telling me to stay quiet."
Will's jaw tightened, his hands clenching into fists.
"I am going to kill him."
"No," Anna said. "We are going to stop him. Did you get the proof?"
Will pulled a folded envelope from his coat and handed it to her. Inside was a receipt from a print shop in Cheyenne, dated 3 weeks ago, for one wanted poster, paid for by Caldwell Crowley. There was also a signed affidavit from the printer, confirming the transaction.
"That is enough," Will said. "We take this to the marshal, and he arrests Crowley."
"The train arrives this afternoon," Anna said. "We do not have time."
"Then, we stop the heist ourselves."
"How?"
"We set a trap," Will said. "We let them think the plan is still on. We wait at the water station. When they show up, we take them."
"There are 4 of them, and 2 of us."
"3 of us," Will said. "The marshal will help."
Anna looked at the receipt in her hands, then at the burned remains of her barn, then at Will. His eyes were steady and determined, and she saw in them something she had not expected. He was not doing this for the $50 or to clear his name. He was doing it for her.
"Let us go," Anna said.
They rode into town and found Marshal Taggart at his office. Will handed him the receipt and the affidavit, and Taggart read them slowly, his frown deepening. Taggart's voice was grim. "This is enough to arrest Crowley. But if the gang is already on their way to the water station, we need to move now."
"We set up at the station and wait for them," Will said. "When they arrive, we take them."
Taggart stood and pulled his rifle from the rack on the wall. "Deputy Marsh is out on patrol. It is just the 3 of us."
"That is enough," Anna said.
They rode out to the water station, a small wooden building beside the rail line with a water tower and a pump. The train was due at 2 in the afternoon. It was noon now. They tied their horses behind the building and took positions inside, their rifles ready. The minutes dragged. Anna's hands were steady on her rifle, but her heart was pounding. Beside her, Will crouched by the window, his eyes scanning the tree line. Taggart stood by the door, his jaw set. At 1:30, 4 riders appeared from the south, moving slow and cautious. Crowley was in the lead, his face calm and smiling. The other 3 men flanked him, their rifles drawn. They dismounted near the water tower and began setting charges, working quickly and efficiently. Taggart's voice was low. "Wait until they are all on foot. Then we move." The gang finished setting the charges and turned toward the station. Crowley pulled a box of matches from his coat. Taggart kicked the door open and stepped out, his rifle leveled. Taggart shouted, "Drop your weapons. You are under arrest." Crowley froze, his smile vanishing. For a moment, no one moved. Then one of the gang members raised his rifle and fired. The bullet splintered the door frame beside Taggart's head. Taggart returned fire, and the station erupted into chaos. Will and Anna burst out of the building, their rifles blazing. One of the gang members went down, clutching his shoulder. Another dove behind the water tower, firing wildly. Crowley ran for his horse, his calm demeanor shattered. Anna leveled her rifle and fired, the bullet kicking up dirt at his feet. Crowley stumbled and fell, scrambling back to his feet.
"Stop," Anna shouted.
Crowley turned, his face twisted with rage, and pulled a revolver from his coat. He aimed at Anna, his hand shaking. Will stepped in front of her and fired. The bullet caught Crowley in the chest, and he fell backward into the dirt, the revolver slipping from his fingers. The remaining gang members threw down their weapons and raised their hands. Taggart moved forward and cuffed them quickly, his face grim. The sound of the train whistle echoed in the distance, growing louder. Anna lowered her rifle, her hands trembling. Crowley lay in the dirt, his eyes staring at the sky, his smile gone forever. Will turned to her, his face pale.
"Are you all right?"
"Yes," Anna said.
But her voice shook, and Will reached out and pulled her close. She leaned into him, her forehead resting against his shoulder, and felt the adrenaline drain away, leaving only exhaustion. The train pulled into the station with a hiss of steam, and the conductor stepped down, his eyes wide at the scene. Taggart waved him over. "Everything is secure. Proceed as scheduled." The conductor nodded slowly and climbed back aboard. The train pulled away, carrying the payroll north, safe and intact. Taggart loaded the gang members onto their horses and tied their hands. Taggart's voice was tired. "I will take them to the county jail. You two did good work. The town owes you."
"We were just protecting what is ours," Will said.
Taggart nodded and rode off with his prisoners. Anna and Will stood beside the water station, watching the train disappear into the distance. The sun was low, the air cold, and the silence felt heavy.
"It is over," Anna said quietly.
"Yes."
"You can leave now. You cleared your name. The $50 is yours."
Will turned to face her, his gray eyes steady.
"I do not want the $50.
"What do you want?"
I want to stay," Will said. "If you will have me."
Anna stared at him, her heart pounding in a way that had nothing to do with fear or danger.
"We barely know each other."
"I know you are stubborn and brave, and you do not give up. Will said. I know you risked everything to save this town. I know I would rather spend my life working beside you than riding alone.
You do not have to stay out of obligation, Anna said. The marriage was supposed to be temporary.
It does not feel temporary, Will said. Not to me.
Anna looked at him, at the scar on his jaw, at the way his hands hung loose and easy at his sides, at the way he was looking at her like she was the only thing in the world that mattered.
I do not want temporary either, she said softly.
Will smiled. A real smile, the first she had seen from him.
Then let us make it real.
The judge certified the claim yesterday, Anna said. We are already married on paper.
I want more than paper, Will said. I want a wedding. A real one. With the preacher and the town watching. I want everyone to know you are mine and I am yours.
When?
Soon, Will said. This week. Before I lose my nerve.
Anna laughed, a sound that surprised her with its lightness.
You will not lose your nerve.
You are right, Will said. I will not.
They rode back to Anna's homestead together as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. The barn was gone, but the cabin stood, and the land stretched out around them, stubborn and beautiful. That night, they stood beside the corral under the soft glow of lantern light, their breath visible in the cold air. Will took her hands in his grip warm and steady.
We will rebuild the barn, he said. We will work the land together. We will make this place everything you dreamed it could be.
You do not have to promise me anything, Anna said.
I want to, Will said. I want to promise you everything.
Anna felt tears sting her eyes, but this time they were not from fear or grief.
Then promise me. You will stay. No matter what.
I promise, Will said.
She leaned forward and kissed him, and the world narrowed to just the two of them, standing under the lantern light beside the corral, with the stars overhead and the cold Montana wind at their backs. When they pulled apart, Will rested his forehead against hers.
When should we tell the preacher?
Tomorrow, Anna said. We will go into town tomorrow and set the date.
How soon?
Within the week. Anna said. I do not want to wait.
Neither do I, Will said.
They stood there for a long time, their hands linked, the lantern casting soft shadows on the ground. The town was safe. The land was theirs. And for the first time in 2 years, Anna felt like she had found something more valuable than a homestead claim. She had found someone to share it with. The next morning, they rode into Pine Hollow together and found the preacher at the small church on the edge of town. He was an older man with kind eyes and a voice that carried the weight of 100 weddings. Anna explained what they wanted, and the preacher smiled. The preacher's voice was warm. You want a real wedding then, not just a piece of paper.
Yes, Anna said.
The preacher nodded. I can do Saturday. That gives you 4 days to prepare. Invite whoever you want. I will be here.
Thank you, Will said.
They left the church and walked through town, and word spread quickly. By afternoon, everyone knew. The mercantile owner offered to donate flowers. The saloon keeper offered to provide food for a small reception. The blacksmith offered to lend his barn for dancing. Anna felt overwhelmed by the kindness, and Will squeezed her hand as they walked back to their horses.
The town likes you, he said.
They like us, Anna corrected.
I can live with that, Will said.
They spent the next 4 days preparing, Will rebuilt the corral fence and started clearing the burned barn debris. Anna sewed a simple white dress from fabric she had been saving, working by candlelight in the evenings. On Friday night, she stood in front of the small mirror in her cabin and looked at herself in the dress. It was plain, but it was hers, and that was enough. Will knocked on the door, and she opened it, and he stopped, his eyes widening.
"You are beautiful," he said.
"It is just a dress," Anna said, but her cheeks flushed.
"It is not the dress," Will said.
He stepped inside and closed the door behind him.
"I have something for you," he said.
He pulled a small wooden box from his coat and opened it. Inside was a simple gold ring, worn but polished.
"It was my mother's," Will said. "She gave it to me before she died. I want you to have it."
Anna's throat tightened.
"I cannot take your mother's ring."
"She would have wanted you to have it," Will said. "She would have liked you."
Anna took the ring from the box and slipped it onto her finger. It fit perfectly.
"I will take care of it," she said.
"I know you will," Will said.
The wedding took place on Saturday afternoon at the small church in Pine Hollow. The sun was bright, the air was cold, and the church was packed with townsfolk who had come to see the Swedish Homesteader marry the trail boss who had saved their town. Anna walked down the aisle alone, her head held high, her simple white dress rustling softly. Will stood at the front, his hair combed back, his coat brushed clean, his eyes locked on her. The preacher spoke about love and commitment, and the hard work of building a life together. Anna barely heard the words. All she could see was Will, standing there with that quiet, steady look, his hand reaching for hers. They said their vows, their voices clear and strong, and the preacher pronounced them husband and wife. Will kissed her, and the church erupted in applause. Afterward, they walked outside into the cold December sunshine, and the town gathered around them, shaking hands and offering congratulations. The blacksmith's barn had been set up with tables and food, and someone brought out a fiddle, and the dancing started. Anna danced with Will, his arms around her, his smile warm and real.
"Are you happy?" he asked.
"Yes," Anna said. "More than I thought possible."
"Good," Will said. "Because I plan to make you happy for a very long time."
"I will hold you to that," Anna said.
They danced until the sun set and the lanterns were lit, and when the night grew late, they rode back to the homestead together, their horses moving slow and easy under the stars. At the cabin, Will helped her down from her horse, and they stood in the yard, the cold air biting, but neither of them caring.
"This is home now," Will said. "For both of us."
"Yes," Anna said. "This is home."
They went inside and closed the door against the cold, and the lantern light filled the small cabin with warmth. Outside, the Montana wind whispered through the pines, and the land stretched out under the stars, stubborn and beautiful in theirs. The winter months passed quickly. Will rebuilt the barn, working through the cold mornings with his breath visible in the air, his hands rough and capable. Anna worked beside him when she could, and they fell into a rhythm that felt as natural as breathing. They learned each other's habits, the small things that made a life together. Will liked his coffee strong and black. Anna hummed while she worked. They argued sometimes, about small things, about the best way to fix a fence or when to plant in spring. But the arguments never lasted long. They were too stubborn to stay angry, and too in love to let pride win. In January, a hard snow fell and buried the homestead under 2 feet of white. They were trapped inside for 3 days, and Will taught Anna how to play poker using dried beans as chips. She won every hand, and he accused her of cheating, and she laughed until her sides hurt. In February, the circuit judge returned to Pine Hollow, and Caldwell Crawley was tried and convicted. He was sentenced to 15 years in the territorial prison. The town breathed easier after that. In March, the snow began to melt, and the land turned muddy and difficult. Will and Anna prepared for spring planting, ordering seeds from the mercantile and planning what crops to grow. They decided on wheat and barley, with a small vegetable garden near the cabin. The work was hard, but it was theirs, and that made all the difference. One evening in early April, Anna stood at the stove making supper, while Will sat at the table mending a harness. The cabin was warm, the fire crackling softly, and she felt a contentment she had never known before.
"Do you ever miss it?" she asked. "The trail. The open country."
Sometimes, Will admitted. But I do not miss being alone.
"You are not alone anymore."
No, Will said, looking up at her. I am not.
She crossed the room and sat beside him, and he set the harness aside and pulled her close.
I have something to tell you, he said.
"What?"
Taggart offered me a job as deputy, Will said. Part-time. Just to help keep the peace when he needs it.
"Do you want to do it?"
Only if you are all right with it, Will said. I would still work the land. It would just be a few days a month.
"Then do it," Anna said. "You are good at it, and the town trusts you."
All right, Will said. I will tell him, yes.
In May, the first crops began to grow, green shoots pushing up through the dark soil. Anna walked the rows every morning, checking for weeds and pests, and Will worked alongside her, his presence steady and sure. The town began to feel like home, not just a place they lived, but a community they were part of. They attended church on Sundays and helped with barn raisings and celebrated the births of neighbors' children. In June, Anna discovered she was pregnant. She told Will one evening after supper, and he stared at her for a long moment, his eyes wide and unreadable. Then he smiled, a smile so wide and genuine it made her heart swell.
Are you sure?
"Yes," Anna said. "I am sure."
We are going to have a baby, Will said, as if testing the words.
"Yes."
He stood and pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly. I am going to be a father.
"You are going to be a good father," Anna said.
I hope so, Will said. I will try.
The summer passed in a blur of work and preparation. Will built a cradle from pine wood, sanding it smooth and carving small flowers into the sides. Anna sewed baby clothes from soft fabric, working late into the evenings by lamplight. The town women visited often, bringing advice and gifts and stories of their own children. In July, the crops were tall and healthy, and the wheat waved in the wind like golden waves. Will and Anna stood at the edge of their field, looking out over the land they had worked so hard to build.
"It is beautiful," Anna said.
It is, Will agreed. And it is ours.
"Ours," Anna repeated, and the word felt like a promise.
In August, the first harvest came. They worked from dawn to dusk, cutting the wheat and barley and stacking it in the barn. The work was exhausting, but it was also satisfying, a tangible result of months of effort. When the last sheaf was stored, Will and Anna stood in the barn, dusty and tired, and looked at what they had accomplished.
We did it, Will said.
We did, Anna said.
That night they sat on the porch, watching the sun set over the Montana hills. Anna's belly was round now, the baby growing strong inside her. Will rested his hand on her stomach and felt the baby kick, and his face lit up with wonder.
Does it hurt?
No, Anna said. It feels strange. But good.
I cannot wait to meet this little one, Will said.
Neither can I, Anna said.
In September, the air turned cool again, and the leaves began to change color. Anna felt the baby move more often now, and she grew tired more easily. Will took over more of the heavy work, insisting she rest, and she did not argue. One afternoon, as she sat on the porch mending a shirt, a rider approached. It was Taggart, and his face was serious. Taggart dismounted and tied his horse. Afternoon, Anna. Is Will around?
He is in the barn, Anna said. Is something wrong?
Taggart hesitated. There is news. I thought Will should hear it first. Anna felt a prick of unease.
What kind of news?
Taggart looked uncomfortable. The man on the wanted poster. The one who looked like Will. They caught him, down in Wyoming. He confessed to the robberies.
That is good news, Anna said slowly.
It is, Taggart agreed. But there is more. The man is claiming Will helped him, that they worked together.
That is a lie, Anna said sharply.
I know, Taggart said quickly. But there will be questions. A marshal is coming to talk to Will. Anna felt her chest tighten.
When?
Tomorrow, Taggart said. I wanted to give you both a heads up. Will emerged from the barn, wiping his hands on a rag, and his eyes narrowed when he saw Taggart.
What is going on?
Taggart explained the situation, and Will listened without interrupting, his face unreadable. When Taggart finished, Will was quiet for a long moment.
I never worked with anyone, Will said finally. I rode alone.
I know, Taggart said. And I will vouch for you. So will the judge. But the marshal will need to hear it from you.
All right, Will said. When does he arrive?
Tomorrow afternoon, Taggart said. Come to my office around 2.
I will be there, Will said.
Taggart nodded and rode off, and Anna stood and crossed to Will.
This is not fair, she said. You cleared your name. You saved the town.
Life is not always fair, Will said. But I am not worried. The truth is on our side.
What if they do not believe you?
Then I will make them believe me, Will said.
The next day, Will rode into town, and Anna waited at the homestead, her hands restless and her mind racing. The hours passed slowly, and she paced the cabin, unable to sit still. Finally, in the late afternoon, she heard the sound of hooves, and she rushed outside. Will was riding up the path, his face calm, and when he dismounted, he smiled.
It is done, he said.
What happened?
The marshal questioned me for an hour, Will said. I told him everything. Taggart and the judge both spoke on my behalf. The marshal said, he believes me. The other man is a liar, and they have enough evidence to prove it.
So you are cleared?
Completely, Will said. No charges. No investigation. It is over.
Anna threw her arms around him, and he held her tightly, his hand cradling the back of her head.
I was so worried, she said.
I know, Will said. But you do not have to worry anymore.
They stood there for a long time, holding each other, and Anna felt the tension drain from her body. The baby kicked, and Will felt it, and laughed.
This little one is restless, he said.
Takes after you, Anna said.
Or you, Will said.
In October, the first frost came, and the land turned gold and brown. Anna's due date was approaching, and the midwife from town visited regularly, checking on her progress. Will stayed close to the homestead, reluctant to leave Anna alone for long. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Anna felt a sharp pain in her belly, and she gasped.
Will,
What is wrong?
I think it is time, Anna said.
Will's face went pale, and he jumped to his feet.
I will get the midwife.
There is no time, Anna said, her voice tight. You need to help me.
I do not know how, Will said, panic creeping into his voice.
You will figure it out, Anna said. You always do.
Will took a deep breath and nodded. He helped Anna to the bed and went to boil water and gather clean cloths, his hands shaking but his movements steady. The labor was long and difficult, and Anna gripped his hand so tightly he thought his bones might break. But he did not complain. He stayed by her side, whispering encouragement, wiping her forehead with a cool cloth. And when the baby finally came, crying loud and strong, Will caught the tiny body in his hands and stared in awe.
It is a girl, he said, his voice breaking.
Anna laughed and cried at the same time, reaching for the baby, and Will placed the tiny bundle in her arms. The baby had dark hair and Anna's blue eyes, and she was perfect.
She is beautiful, Anna whispered.
She is, Will agreed.
What should we name her?
What about Grace? Will said. After my mother.
Grace, Anna repeated. I like it.
Will leaned down and kissed Anna's forehead, then looked at the baby, his eyes wet.
Hello, Grace, he said softly. Welcome home.
The weeks after Grace's birth passed, in a haze of sleepless nights and quiet joy. Will took over all the heavy work on the homestead, insisting Anna rest and recover. He learned to change diapers and swaddle the baby, his large hands surprisingly gentle with the tiny girl. At night, when Grace cried, he would walk her around the cabin, humming soft tunes until she settled. Anna watched him with the baby and felt her love deepen in ways she had not thought possible. In November, the first snow fell, and the world turned white and silent. Will chopped extra firewood and stocked the cabin with supplies, preparing for a long winter. Anna sat by the fire with Grace in her arms, nursing the baby and feeling the warmth of the flames on her face. The cabin was small, but it was full of love, and that was enough. One afternoon, Taggart rode out to the homestead with news. The railroad company had agreed to run a spur line through Pine Hollow, which would bring commerce and prosperity to the town. The water rights dispute was officially settled, and the town council was planning a celebration. You two should come, Taggart said. The whole town wants to thank you.
We will see, Will said. Anna and the baby need rest.
Taggart smiled and tipped his hat. Fair enough. But you are heroes around here, whether you like it or not. After Taggart left, Anna looked at Will.
He is right, you know. You saved this town.
We saved it, Will corrected. You were the one who figured out Crowley's plan.
We make a good team, Anna said.
The best. Will agreed.
In December, the town held its celebration, and despite Will's reluctance, Anna insisted they attend. They bundled Grace in warm blankets and rode into Pine Hollow together, the baby sleeping peacefully in Anna's arms. The town square was decorated with evergreen boughs and lanterns, and tables were set up with food and drink. The whole community had turned out, and when Will and Anna arrived, they were greeted with cheers and applause. The mayor gave a speech, praising their courage and quick thinking, and Will stood uncomfortably in the spotlight, his hand holding Anna's tightly. When the speech ended, the music started, and people began to dance. Will pulled Anna into his arms, careful not to jostle the baby, and they swayed together under the winter stars.
This is not so bad, Will admitted.
I told you, Anna said.
You are always right, Will said.
I am glad you finally noticed, Anna said, and he laughed.
They stayed until late in the evening, talking with neighbors and accepting congratulations, and when they finally rode home, the night was clear and cold, the stars brilliant overhead. At the cabin, Will carried Grace inside while Anna lit the lanterns, and they settled in for the night. Grace woke once, crying softly, and Anna fed her while Will sat beside them, his hand resting on Anna's shoulder.
I never thought I would have this, he said quietly.
Have what?
A family. A home. Someone to love.
You deserve it, Anna said.
So do you, Will said.
They sat in silence for a while, the only sound the crackling of the fire and Grace's soft breathing. Anna looked down at the baby and then at Will, and she felt a peace settle over her, deep and lasting.
I am happy, she said.
So am I, Will said.
In the months that followed, the homestead thrived. The spring planting went well, and the crops grew strong. Grace grew too, her dark hair lengthening and her eyes bright and curious. She learned to smile and then to laugh, and the sound filled the cabin with light. Will built a small crib for her and carved wooden toys, spending his evenings shaping animals and wheels from scraps of pine. Anna taught her songs and rocked her to sleep every night, and the baby became the center of their world. In June, the railroad spur was completed, and the first train rolled into Pine Hollow to great fanfare. The town grew rapidly after that, with new businesses opening and families moving in. Will took on more deputy work, helping Taggart maintain order as the population swelled, and Anna opened a small sewing business, taking in mending and alterations from the new arrivals. They were busy, but they were happy, and the homestead remained their refuge. One evening in late summer, as the sun set over the Montana hills, Will and Anna sat on the porch with Grace between them. The baby was nearly a year old now, babbling and reaching for everything, and she grabbed at Will's finger with her tiny hand. He smiled and let her hold on, his heart full.
Do you remember the first time we met? He asked.
Of course, Anna said. You were covered in dust and looked like you had not slept in days.
I was thinking the same about you, Will said, and Anna laughed.
We were a mess, she said.
We still are, Will said, but we are a mess together.
I would not have it any other way, Anna said.
Will leaned over and kissed her, and Grace squealed and clapped her hands, and they both laughed. The land stretched out before them, golden in the fading light, and the future felt wide and open, full of possibility. They had built something here, something real and lasting, and it was theirs.
I love you, Will said.
I love you too, Anna said.
They sat there until the stars came out, the three of them together, and the Montana wind whispered through the pines, carrying with it the promise of all the days to come. As autumn arrived again, bringing the second harvest since Grace's birth, the homestead had become a place of routine and contentment. Will and Anna worked side by side in the fields, Grace strapped to Anna's back in a cloth carrier, her tiny hands reaching for the wheat stalks as they passed. The baby had grown strong and curious, her eyes wide as she watched everything around her. In the evenings, Will would set her on his knee and tell her stories, even though she was too young to understand, and Anna would watch them with a smile, knowing that this was what home looked like. The town continued to grow, and with it came new challenges. Disputes over land, arguments between merchants, the occasional drifter looking for trouble. Will spent more time in town now, working alongside Taggart to keep the peace. But he always came home at night, always made sure to be there for supper and bedtime. Anna appreciated his dedication to both his work and his family, and she never complained when he rode out early or came back late. She knew he was building something larger than just their homestead. He was helping to build a community. One October morning, a telegram arrived at the sheriff's office. Taggart read it and immediately rode out to the homestead. Will was repairing a section of fence when he saw the rider approaching, and he set down his tools and walked to meet him. Anna came out of the cabin with Grace on her hip, sensing the urgency. Taggart dismounted, his face grave. There's been trouble in Helena. A gang hit the bank and killed 2 lawmen. The territorial marshal is calling for deputies to help track them down.
How many men does he need?
As many as can ride, Taggart said. I am going. I thought you might want to come too.
How long?
A week. Maybe 2, Taggart said. Will looked at Anna, and she saw the conflict in his eyes. He wanted to help, she could see that, but he did not want to leave them.
You should go, Anna said.
Anna, I cannot just leave you and Grace.
We will be fine, Anna said firmly. The town is safe. We have neighbors. You are needed.
Are you sure?
I am sure, Anna said. Go help them. Come home when it is done.
Will hesitated, then nodded. He kissed Anna and then Grace, holding them both tightly.
I will be back as soon as I can.
I know, Anna said. Be careful.
Always, Will said.
He packed a bedroll and supplies, checked his rifle, and rode out with Taggart within the hour. Anna stood on the porch with Grace, watching until they disappeared over the ridge. The cabin felt suddenly quiet and empty, and she carried Grace inside and set her down to play with her wooden toys. The days passed slowly. Anna kept busy with chores and sewing work, and the neighbors checked in regularly, bringing food and company. Grace was a bright spot, her laughter filling the cabin, and Anna focused on her daughter, pushing away the worry that crept in at night. On the 10th day, a rider came to the homestead. It was not Will, but a young deputy Anna had seen in town once or twice. His face was serious, and Anna felt her stomach drop. "Ma'am," the deputy said, tipping his hat. "I have a message from Marshal Taggart."
Is Will all right?
"He is alive," the deputy said quickly. "But he was shot. They got the gang, but there was a gunfight. Will took a bullet to the shoulder."
Where is he?
"Helena," the deputy said. "The doctor patched him up, but Taggart thought you should know. They are bringing him back tomorrow."
"Thank you," Anna said, her voice steady even as her hands shook.
The deputy rode off, and Anna went inside and sat down, holding Grace tightly. The baby fussed, sensing her mother's distress, and Anna rocked her gently, whispering soothing words. That night, she did not sleep. She packed a bag and prepared the cabin, and in the morning, she rode into town with Grace, arranging for a neighbor to watch the baby while she waited at the sheriff's office. When the wagon rolled in just after noon, Anna was standing in the street. Will was lying in the back, his shoulder bandaged, his face pale, but his eyes open. When he saw her, he tried to sit up, and she rushed to him.
"Do not move," she said, tears streaming down her face.
"I am all right," Will said, his voice weak but steady. "It looks worse than it is."
"You were shot," Anna said.
"But I am alive," Will said, "and I am home."
Taggart helped them get Will into the cabin, and the town doctor came out to check the wound. The bullet had gone clean through, and the doctor said Will would recover fully with rest. Anna did not leave his side for the next week, changing his bandages, bringing him food, and keeping him still when he tried to get up and work. Grace crawled over to him often, babbling and patting his good arm, and Will smiled and talked to her, even when the pain made him wince. By the end of November, Will was back on his feet, though Anna insisted he take it easy. He spent his days doing light chores and playing with Grace, and his shoulder healed slowly but surely. The scare had shaken them both, and they held each other a little tighter at night, grateful for every moment they had together. As December arrived and the first snow fell, they celebrated Grace's first birthday with a small gathering of friends and neighbors. The cabin was full of laughter and warmth, and Grace clapped her hands and squealed as everyone sang to her. Will held Anna close as they watched their daughter, and he whispered in her ear,
"Thank you."
"For what?"
"For everything," Will said. "For believing in me. For building this life with me."
"Thank you for staying," Anna said. "For coming home."
"I will always come home," Will said.
They stood there together, surrounded by the people who had become their family, and they knew that no matter what challenges came, they would face them side by side. The land outside was white and silent, the Montana winter settling in. But inside the cabin, there was light and love, and the sound of a child's laughter, and that was all they needed.